Immigration to the Philippines involves a variety of entry procedures depending on the purpose of the visit and your nationality. Now, on entering the Philippines, you need to make sure that your passport is valid for at least 6 months from the date of your arrival. And on this basis, if you enter the Philippines on January the 1st, but your passport expires on May the 15th, you will not be allowed into the Philippines. So if your passport does not have at least 6 months validity after the date that you know you'll be arriving, then make sure you allow good time to renew your passport well before you leave your country. Now, I personally had mine renewed over a year prior to my departure date to make absolutely sure that it was sent off, processed, and returned back to me well before that time. Now, while there is no specific requirement for travel insurance, for example, health or medical, it goes without saying that the intelligent thing to do is to make sure that you have some form of cover, as you are not entitled to any kind of healthcare in the Philippines. Now, some people choose to self-insure, as the cost of medical attention is much cheaper compared to that in the West in general. But you never know what can happen or how serious it might be, and it's just not worth taking the risk without it. There are frequent horror stories of tourists and expats and retirees who have been unfortunate enough to suffer an accident, perhaps on a motorbike, or being diagnosed with some serious illness like dengue fever or malaria, that have found themselves unable to acquire the medical attention they need, either because they weren't coherent enough to arrange payment, or they simply didn't have the funds available. Now, in this neck of the woods, you are just a statistic and nothing more. You have no rights, no entitlement, and unless you can provide payment, for example, with a credit card, to allow the hospital to carry out any necessary medical procedures or hospital care, you will be left by the side of the road or in a corridor or turned away to fend for yourself. Now, going back to the requirements, you'll also need to make sure that you have either a return ticket or an onward ticket of departure to another destination for a date no later than 30 days from your arrival. Now, I haven't yet managed to find a sound, rational reason as to why this is the case, as once you're in, you can extend your visa continuously. Nonetheless, those are the rules, and you may be asked to show this to an immigration officer, so it's best to have it in place. However, if you have a return ticket dated within 30 days of your arrival, then you satisfy the requirement. If you have a return ticket booked outside of the 30-day period, let's say for in 2 or 3 months from when you arrive, then it would be best to buy a throwaway ticket as well of onward travel, just for the purpose of showing your intention for departure, and this can be done as follows. Utilizing a service such as onwardticket.com, which involves the purchase of a flight ticket, which will be reserved for you for 48 hours for a nominal fee of around $16 or so. This will be valid for 48 hours and then cancelled by the site on your behalf. It's a very easy thing to do, which should be done the day before you leave for the Philippines, and basically involves choosing a random destination at a time that you will be supposedly leaving the Philippines within 30 days of your arrival, for example, on day 20 or 25. If you are unable to satisfy this requirement, you will be denied entry into the Philippines. The next thing you will need to do is to make sure that you have registered with the e-travel immigration system online within 72 hours of arriving in the Philippines. Now, this is a very straightforward process in terms of registering basic details such as name, email, flight number, and doing so will enable the system to generate a QR code, which you will need to show an immigration officer when you get to the immigration gate. The tourist visa, which is known as the 9A tourist visa for many nationalities, including the US, EU, UK, etc., are granted visa-free entry for 30 days upon arrival into the Philippines. And for longer stays, tourists can apply for a visa extension at immigration offices and more recently online using the new e-services system that the Bureau of Immigration have recently put in place. This can get you an extra 29 days. After, for example, you've been in the Philippines for a couple of weeks, just to be safe, the best thing to do is to go to your nearest Bureau of Immigration or online and let them know that you want to extend your stay by filling in a simple form and paying a fee of around 30 to 50 to get your visa extension along with a paper receipt that you'll need to hang on to. And that's proof of your visa extension approval to show the Bureau of Immigration in the future. If you plan to stay beyond the 30 plus 29 days, then approximately 2 weeks before the end of that period, to allow good time, you should apply to extend your visa, but this time for 2 months. Now, there used to be an option for 6 months, which has now been removed for the time being. The nice thing about the Philippines is that you can continuously renew your visa time after time, all the way up to 36 months. And as you approach the end of this 3-year period, all you have to do is exit the Philippines for a period of 24 hours, essentially doing a border run or take a week's vacation somewhere. And upon re-entry, the clock will reset and the whole process will start again from scratch. And in addition to the initial extensions for your visa, as you go past the 59th day, there is also an additional requirement. And this is that you purchase an ACR card, which stands for Alien Certificate of Registration, at the cost of around 80 to 100. Essentially, it serves as an official document for identifying non-Filipinos who reside or work there. The application process is very straightforward, and on this occasion, you must visit the Bureau of Immigration and complete the ACR card application form. Submit the necessary documents, which is usually a passport, a visa, along with the required fees, and you'll be given a claim stub and notified when your card is ready for pickup. Now, this could range anywhere between 1 and 90 days, but it's usually sooner rather than later. The supposed benefits of having this card, other than proof of legal residency, it's supposed to ease with government transactions, for example, opening up a bank account, applying for a driver's license, or making financial transactions along with setting up utilities and healthcare. It also serves as a special return certificate, allowing hassle-free entry back in and out of the Philippines without needing a new visa every time you re-enter. Although in reality, most expats report that they seldomly use it anyway. Now, we've discussed entering the Philippines. Let's briefly talk about exiting the Philippines. If you've been in the Philippines for more than 6 months at a time, around 2 to 4 weeks before your departure, you will need to go to immigration and complete what's called an ECC. This is an exit clearance certificate, and essentially you take 2 small passport-sized photos along with a copy of your passport bio page and your departure flight details of when you intend to leave the Philippines. Upon successful completion of the EEC, it will be valid for 30 days, therefore enabling you to leave the country. Now, the purpose of this is to make sure that you haven't been in any trouble or done anything wrong while you've been staying in the Philippines. The essence of all of the above is dot the I's, cross the T's, and be intelligent about how you approach immigration when entering or leaving the Philippines. After all, you are a guest in the country. So when dealing with the authorities, make sure that you are polite, courteous, keep your answers short and concise. At the current time, instructions have been issued through the Bureau of Immigration to investigate a little more thoroughly applicants for visa extensions. All the more reason to adhere to this.